What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise Postgame show. We will recap this Blazers loss. The Blazers fall tonight 115 to 111 to a Brooklyn Nets team without Kevin Durant, without Kyrie Irving. This was yet another game in which the Blazers really could not figure anything out defensively. Very, very frustrating game. Eric, if you maybe want to look at the stream and rearrange your camera slightly.
Okay.
Because my thing's off screen, and I can't do that. Let's just get that out of the way. Eric is back. It's so nice to have Eric back. Honestly, solo streams are a lot more stressful, so to say. So it's nice to be able to. Yeah, bless you. It's nice to be able to have Eric back to be able to bounce ideas off of, and I'm not just having to fill the airwaves constantly. So this definitely
What's up, everyone?
Works better as a two-way show. Let's just jump straight into something. All right, so I wasn't really in rant mode. Okay, wasn't really in rant mode. You know, I mean, what? I'm not shocked by anything that happened today, sadly. But I'm especially not in rant mode because of some of the stuff that's being said on Twitter, and I just want to get this out of the way before we actually talk basketball. Okay, shout out Shaggy Squid for the $5 Australian dollar donation. Let me thank that first. He says, "I don't think it's ignorant or unfair to say I could do more in 20 minutes than Rodney Hood. How does anyone think he deserves minutes at this point?" I don't think you could do more in 20 minutes than Rodney Hood, but you know, I mean, the dude's definitely been struggling. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Appreciate the dono. So you got people on Twitter that just take things a little bit too far, in my opinion. Okay, like I will vent my opinion on the way the team is coached or on basketball. You know, that's what it is. But you won't see me replying to the Blazers posting the final score and saying "F you" or, you know, "Y'all better fire Stotts" or yada yada. You're talking to Amara Baptist about how she should fire Stotts. What is she going to do? Like, what is the point of that? You know what I mean? What does that accomplish? You know, like, I just share my opinions, okay? That's what I do. You're not even sharing opinion. You're basically being very negative towards somebody specifically who has no weight in the issue, so to say. You know what I mean? Like, you won't see me getting on the Blazers Twitter account, who's ran by Amara Baptist. Sorry if I'm butchering her last name, by the way. I'll just call her Amara. You're not going to see me getting on the Blazers Twitter account ran by Amara and yelling at her that they need to fire Stotts. Like, what's the point of that? Or saying F you when she posts the final score. It's just, it doesn't come across well at all. It comes across as just extremely, extremely toxic, and I don't know. That's just why I don't do it. And I saw a couple people who are like regulars in here doing that. It's just like, guys, just chill. I know it's frustrating losing this game. You know, just chill. But the thing is, that's not even the bad stuff, okay? I'm not going to repeat what was said, but let's just say there's a lot of people on Twitter that take it way too far. And like call for death to Stotts, basically.
Or the plane to crash.
Yeah, see, and Amara was tweeting about that and said it's people who bet on the Blazers that wish that type of stuff. You know, you got grown men out there who bet a lot of money on sports and then get mad and say ridiculous stuff behind a keyboard, behind an avatar usually, because they lost money on a bet, right? So that's definitely part of it. But there's people out there who I won't name. I'm not going to go into naming things. They're just saying ridiculous stuff, okay? And I am unhappy with the way the team is coached, and that's completely fine. What's not fine is going on Twitter and saying, you know, making it a personal thing. You've never heard me personally attack Stotts. Sometimes I don't like his answers to press conference questions. That's the closest you'll see me get to, you know, maybe it being a little bit personal, but it's not personal. I don't like his job, like the job he does as the coach of this team, which is completely fine. If you like the job he does as the coach of this team, that's completely fine too. What we can all agree on, or most of us should be able to agree on, is going on Twitter and saying to tie cement blocks to Stoss's feet and throw him in the river, that type of stuff, just obviously not okay. Obviously not okay.
Especially with the racial undertones of the one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even going to say the other one, okay?
Yeah.
But, like, if you are a part of this community, I just ask you to be better than that. Because, like, if you are a part of this community, you almost represent this community a little bit, so to say, right? Like, this community is known, you know, and a lot of people just know us as the Fire Stotts, you know, community. The problem is there's a lot of people out there that aren't a part of this community that also want him gone, that make us all look bad, okay? I just want to say, I'm not here to condone it, okay? The stuff, like the toxic stuff on Blazers tweets, it's just, it doesn't accomplish anything. It's not a good look. It's not, there's no point to it. You're just putting, you know, negativity out there towards somebody, towards Amara, who runs the Blazers account, for no reason. For no reason, okay? Share your opinions on why, you know, you think the team is playing a bad style of basketball. That's completely fine. If you go on a Twitter post under there and just say, this team needs to figure out defense, or this team needs to do this better, this team needs to do that better, also completely fine. Going on there and saying, F you, or, you know, some of the other stuff that was said on it, it's not cool, okay? The F off, that's just toxic. The stuff about, you know, death to Stotts type of stuff is obviously unacceptable. That's beyond uncool, okay? I just wanted to touch on that because I saw a lot of that after this game today. You had Amara tweeting about it. It's not okay. It's not okay. We are obviously more honest and not the most positive of coverage, but I like to feel like everything we're saying is just based on basketball, and a lot of our criticisms could be taken as constructive criticism. And that's how we do things here. So I don't like, you know, that people like... This is what I'm worried about. I don't want people to see members of this community saying things that they shouldn't say and then thinking that's a reflection of this community, because I know this community is better than that.
Yeah, because, I mean, whether we accept this responsibility or not, I'm fine with carrying this burden, but I mean, you and I are pretty much the face of the Fire Stotts crowd, right? So, like, we are associated with that. Blazers Uprise is known as the Stotts haters or whatever. So let's not give them that ammo. Let's stick to basketball. Stick to reasons we give you. It's the same when you argue with someone who likes Stotts. Make it about basketball and not about personal stuff, and especially not about wishing death on the whole team or the coach in particular. I mean, that does not solve anything. It just makes you look like a freaking idiot. And honestly, anyone who does that stuff does not deserve to be on any social media platform. They should just be permabanned from any type of tweets or Facebook or any of that kind of stuff. I wish there was some way to universally ban these people. And yeah, someone should go talk to his mom in particular, the people who know who I'm talking about, because he's been grounded for watching this show past a certain time at night. I'm sure if his mom knew what he was doing on Twitter, that he would get his phone taken away and not be able to be on Twitter anymore. But so yeah, it's just unacceptable, and we don't want any part of that. And I hope you guys are good enough people to not do that. And honestly, if I see any of you calling it out, even if I like you and it's someone I've interacted with, I'm going to call you out on Twitter for it, because it's just unacceptable, and let's just stop that behavior right now.
Yep. And the two people that were saying, you know, and the two people that I saw that were just way over the top in regards to, you know, basically, the easiest way to explain it is calling for Stotts to be killed. I don't know an easier way to explain it. Those two people aren't members of this community. One of them used to be a member of this community. One of them, I don't know who it is. I'm just saying, like, if you're a part of this community, if you're not part of this community, that's obviously unacceptable. And I know this community is better than that. So yeah, I mean, when it comes to things, just make basketball points. Like, we sit here and give you guys things you could use for arguments, you know? Like, we sit here and talk the game constantly and talk about the same stuff. You guys easily have, if you, I don't know, and you don't even have to agree with us. But if you see what we're talking about and you agree with it, talk about that. Talk about basketball. Don't take it to a level it shouldn't go. Mm-hmm. Which, and that's, like, even in personal interactions, I try to avoid taking it to a level it shouldn't go. Even in basketball arguments, in regards to, people that insult me and whatnot, I genuinely try not to. Every now and then somebody will just push it a little too hard, and somebody, but I'll never say anything like that. I don't know. I genuinely try to be above that sort of thing, which a lot of media members aren't, by the way. They will insult you for thinking something else. And what if I always said, be above that? I mean, just, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously I'm not perfect in regards to being this squeaky clean person in regards to interacting with people on Twitter, but it's never nothing like seriously personal at all. So let's try and be better than that. Let's definitely not say some of the stuff that was being said. And yeah, that's really what I got. I just wanted to touch on that because I was really uncomfortable reading that stuff.
And 2 donations real quick. Spacely Sprockets with a $2 donation says, Tori, stay off Twitter, bro. It's toxic. Yeah, it can be quite a toxic place, but there's no reason for us to contribute to that, but appreciate the dono. And then Kyle Wilson with a $2 donation, which just went away on my screen. He said Twitter should honestly be canceled. Yeah, I mean, it's great to interact with people and to be able to access certain things through Twitter, but yeah, there are some really negative parts about it too. But as long as we remain with the positive parts of Twitter and the good things it's for, I think it has a place. It's just not for the way it's being used after the game ended tonight.
Yep. I mean, here's the thing with Twitter is it's just like nothing shocks me anymore. Mm-hmm. Like nothing even like I see that type of stuff and I'm just like, that's very unacceptable. But it's like I'm not shocked by it because people, that hide behind the shield of anonymity, however you say that word, people that hide behind that shield will say anything. So it's like I see that type of stuff and it's just like makes me facepalm, makes me cringe. It's not okay. Kind of pisses me off, but also I'm just like, yeah, of course that's a thing that people are doing on Twitter. It's ridiculous. But it's just to be expected. Sadly, it's unfortunate.
Yep. I mean, that's true also, Reese. I mean, there was some pro Stotts people saying it was okay to abuse their kids if they didn't like Stotts or whatever too, and that's not acceptable either. So we're not saying, but that's our whole point was, let's not take it to their level. Let's be better than them and prove our points through things that actually matter and not in a disgusting way like I saw tonight.
Yep, 100%. So anyway, let's move on to the game. The Blazers end up losing to a depleted Brooklyn Nets team, 115 to 111. This game was pretty close throughout, but you're playing against a Brooklyn team here missing two legitimate stars, missing Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. I have a question for chat and I have a question for Eric. Who do you think had the most talent on the floor tonight?
Well, the Blazers were favored in this game, first of all. And second of all, I would say the Blazers.
Yeah, I would also say the Blazers. I think Blazers have more talent on the floor tonight, but they couldn't get it done. Go ahead.
I think the score was 116-112.
Maybe it was 116-112. Actually, yeah, I just looked it up. I will fix that in 3 seconds. But here's the thing, all right? I just want to bring this up. Okay, we're not really going into the basketball. We're just going into just kind of a general theme here. Other than Philadelphia, the last time the Blazers beat a team that was more than just a fringe playoff team was on December 28th, 2020 against the Los Angeles Lakers. Since then, the Blazers' best win is probably against the Dallas Mavericks, right? They beat the Dallas Mavericks twice. The same Dallas Mavericks team that just blew the Blazers out by 40, by the way. I am not impressed. I'm not impressed by the Blazers' record because they have been doing it against fringe playoff teams or worse. One of those Philadelphia games, they were missing Ben Simmons, we were missing Damian Lillard. Still a very impressive win. The other one, they had their full complement of players, and we took care of business at home. So, not to downplay those 2 wins, those were good wins. But other than Philadelphia, our most impressive win in the entirety of 2021, it's March 23rd, 2021, by the way. Our most impressive win in the entirety of 2021 is against the Dallas Mavericks. That is not impressive to me. Sure, you can look at the record in a vacuum, 25-18 right now, and say, yeah, they've had 2 guys hurt in 25-18. That's pretty good considering they've had 2 guys hurt. But we've been doing it on one of the easiest schedules in the league. It's just getting to the point. I don't expect us to beat legitimate playoff teams, even if they're missing players. If they're a legitimate playoff team, I don't expect us to win. And that was kind of the feeling going into tonight. Brooklyn is a legitimate playoff team. Maybe they're a fringe playoff team without KD and Kyrie. Still couldn't get the job done. Here's the thing. Next, we got the Miami Heat, who have been playing a lot better. We'll see if we can beat a legitimate playoff team. Phoenix just beat the Heat by 10. They're only sitting at... They're currently sitting at 22-22, so they're 500. But they're probably a legitimate playoff team. I don't even know if you like. Some people would say they're a fringe playoff team. They're only 500. But either way, the Blazers can't get it done against good teams at all this season. And it's not a having CJ thing or a not having CJ thing. We had CJ tonight. CJ was pretty bad tonight. Obviously, he didn't really help us a whole lot. So, and this basically goes back to my entire point that I'll lead into kind of the basketball discussion with. I don't think our style of play is conducive for success against the better teams in the league, against legitimate playoff teams. And the Blazers have shown me nothing this year to dispel that notion, despite them being 25-18.
Tori, you said something on a recent show, I forget which one it was, and that initiated me to do some research to back up this conversation. So I went back and looked at the point spread, if we were favored or not in every game we've played this year, to see what Vegas thinks our record should be versus what our record is, to see if there's some massive difference between, even with the injuries, because that's obviously taken into account each game, right? What the final line is before tip-off. So we've been favored in 24 out of the 43 games, including tonight. So 24-19. And what's our record? 25-18. So we're basically playing right at our expectations.
But of course,
not
if you're
above
playing...
it, not below it.
But
and that's with a weak schedule,
If we were playing better, we would have been favored in more games, more likely. You know what I mean? Like, if we were playing better. So, yeah, it's not like we're winning a bunch of games we're favored to lose. We're favored to lose. And the Vegas spread is defined by, they try and get it where they'll have 50% of bets on one side and 50% of bets on the other. So you have to think, if most people that follow sports sleep on the Blazers, the spread is likely going to favor the Blazers less than it actually should. Just to try and get that 50-50 split of betting. So, yeah, it's not like it's not like we're winning a bunch of games that we shouldn't be winning. Okay? During this entire year of 2021, okay, starting January 1st, 2021, there's been 2 games that you could say max that we were definitely the underdogs in.
We're actually 9-10 in games where we're underdogs, which isn't bad. We're just 16-8 in games we're favored in, which is not good at all.
I mean, I just look at it like the best team we've beaten other than Philadelphia since 2021 started is Dallas, and they just blew us out by 40. I don't know. It's not that impressive to me, if you actually really look at it. Like I said, if you if I woke up from a coma, okay, and I was in a coma the past 6 months, and this was their record, with missing CJ, missing Nurkic, I'd be like, okay. But then if you showed me this schedule and how easy their schedule was, I'd have this opinion. You know, if this was against a hard schedule, it'd be much more impressive because we would have actually had to beat some legitimate teams, but we haven't really beaten anybody legitimate other than Philadelphia. So I don't think Nurkic coming back is going to turn us into a team that's all of a sudden beating legitimate teams, let alone a contender, Eric, which was kind of the standard going into the season with this roster, right? Right? You know, we were supposed to finally contend this year. That was the goal. Yeah. Instead, it's like, oh, we need Nurkic just so we have a chance to beat a playoff team. That's basically the point we're at right now. Because our defense is maybe the worst. Like, if you take into account strength of schedule and the teams we played, our defense might be the worst defense in NBA history. Because, I mean, you're sitting at third worst in NBA history against the fifth easiest schedule in the league. That's not good. That's not good. I mean, the defense reared its ugly head today. I mean, we did not play good defensively today. They missed a ton of open threes. They got a ton of quality looks all game long. We sent them to the line 27 times. We only forced 8 turnovers. They shot 49% inside the arc. They got, let's see here, 64 points inside the paint. It's not good.
And, I mean, if we had Nurkic tonight, is he... I mean, yeah, it would have helped to have some depth, I guess, but, I mean, Cantor put up 19, 19, and 6. It's not like Yusuf could have done much better than that this game, you know? So, like, I don't think this particular game is injuries, you can say, is the reason. I mean, yeah, Ant missed a game. He hasn't really played at all in recent games, and Nas has been in the rotation a little bit, but that shouldn't be the reason why you lose this game tonight either. So
yeah, there's the good old ESPN autoplay. James Harden was 7 for 24 today, by the way, too. So they scored 116 with James Harden struggling, and it's not like we were doing anything all that special on him defensively. You know, he missed a lot of quality looks. Normally, he makes a higher percentage of those. Just saying.
Kyle Wilson with the $2 donation. He says, here's my question. Why didn't Giles play? And that's a great question because in this particular game, when you look back at Rocco getting his 3rd foul early, his 4th foul early, his 5th foul early, and then the way Claxton was dominating us when we had like Melo and Derek Jones as our centers or whatever we were doing on offense. I don't even know what we were doing at that time. Like, why not give Giles a chance in that to see if he can maybe defend Claxton? Because he absolutely killed us on those rolls to the basket during that stretch. And we had no size to combat it. We had no size to get rebounds. It was just puzzling when Rocco is not in the game and Cantor is not in the game, why we would not give Giles a shot in that situation.
The Stotts also realized we could go big and play Giles next to Cantor and try that and just see what that looks like. They're scoring 64 points inside the paint against us. You know, their starting 4 is Jeff Green. I think Giles could hang with Jeff Green. I think Giles could definitely hang with Blake Griffin. I mean, I don't know. Like, because I wouldn't play Cantor 40 minutes despite him playing great. Like, 40 minutes is a ton of minutes for Cantor. He played 40 minutes tonight, Eric. Mm-hmm. My goodness. But still, if you want to play Cantor that much, play Giles the backup center minutes and then give him some burn at the 4 next to Cantor because they're killing us inside and see what that looks like. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, Nas is out. So we know Rodney Hood, no matter how garbage he is going to play 20 minutes a game and we're going to slide our forwards up to the center position or the power forward position. Instead, you could have easily given Hood's minutes to Giles. And Giles would have played 8 minutes as the backup center behind Cantor, who played 40 minutes, and then 12 minutes next to Cantor at the 4. And we would have went bigger. Would that have really screwed us over that much? Because I'm looking at Rodney Hood right now. He's 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from the 3-point line, 3 points, was a -7, was terrible defensively, literally did not help our team in any way, shape, or form. I guess he had 2 assists in those 20 minutes, so I guess that's cool. But the dude is literally not helping us at all. It's almost like we're playing 4-on-5 with him on the court. Like, I'm sorry to say it, but the dude's been brutal. The dude's been brutal all season long, and I've been super, super patient with him. But at this point, he doesn't deserve any minutes. Any minutes. You could easily put Giles into this game where we're getting killed in the paint, play him behind Kanter, and maybe play him a little bit next to Kanter, considering the Nets' power forwards are decent matchups for Giles, and just see what that looks like. You know, would have been better. Would have been better than Rodney Hood. I honestly have as much confidence in Harry Giles' 3-point shot as I have in Rodney Hood's right now. I think Harry Giles could go 1 for 4. So it's not like you're sacrificing spacing. I mean, I don't know. His adversity to playing Harry Giles right now is just ridiculous. It's like he falls in love with certain players, and it doesn't matter how bad they play, they're still going to play. Rodney Hood playing 20 minutes tonight is ridiculous. I like the guy. I wish he could get back to what he was to start last season. I would love that because I really like Rodney Hood as a person. And him as a player, the player he was before his injury, I really like his style of game. I really like the way he plays. But he's not that guy anymore. He's brutal. And it just leaves me sitting here like, oh, I hope this is his last game in a Portland uniform, which is sad. It's sad because, I mean, obviously you can't control the injury and, you know, he got unlucky with that. And I like him as a person. But if he remains on the team, Stotts is going to play him even when he shouldn't. So it has me sitting here hoping that he gets traded because at this point he shouldn't be playing.
So at this point, would you take a salary dump to New York for nothing in return?
It's just, okay. Bro, it's like we're only salary dumping him because Stotts can't figure things out with his rotations.
I know. The only thing I'm hopeful for is that after Thursday, like, it will eliminate any of the idea that we're playing anyone at certain minutes to pump up their trade value or whatever.
Yeah.
So if that's what we're doing, that's inexcusable in my mind. But let's just say we are doing that for the sake of argument.
It's not working. It's not working,
after Thursday, like, we're making his trade value worse. Yeah, first of all. Second of all, after Thursday, there won't be that excuse. So you can't say, oh, tonight, we needed a good game from Hood right before the trade deadline to show he's back or something, you know. So no more excuses for playing Hood going forward if it's not working out.
I mean, I don't think that's the case, but bro, I just got even more triggered. I'm looking at Gary Trent Jr.'s stat line. He only had 1 foul, so wasn't in foul trouble. Only a rebound, no assists, you know. He's not filling up the stat sheet by any means, but 3 for 5 from the 3-point line. 3 for 7 from the field. 2 for 2 from the free throw line. 11 points. He only played 25 minutes. Rodney Hood played 20. Like, give Gary Trent Jr. 35 minutes and Rodney Hood 10 if you have to play Hood. If you can't play Giles, can't play Eloy, you know, obviously you can't play Blevins. Let's just be honest. But, like, you know, if you're going to run that 8-man rotation, why is Gary Trent Jr. only playing 25 minutes and Rodney Hood's playing 20 in a game where Gary Trent Jr. was shooting 60% from 3? I don't get it. I don't get his rotations, especially lately. It's just ridiculous to me. Like, easily play Gary Trent Jr. 35 minutes and then play Giles as the backup center, and you don't have to play Hood. And I think they probably win this game if they do that. Honestly.
Yeah, probably.
But
I mean, it wouldn't have been that hard to win this game, in my opinion.
I mean, we were right there at the end, despite Rodney Hood being a massive negative, man. I just don't get it. Another stat line, or do you want to say anything else about Rodney Hood?
No, I was going to put another stat out there, but go ahead with yours.
Okay. We're not going to do player graphics, by the way. We're already talking about the players as it is, okay? I'm looking at Derrick Jones Jr.'s stat line, too, and I was just thinking this throughout the game, okay?
Oh.
He shot 8 threes. He shot 6 two-pointers. He was 1 for 8 from 3. He was 5 for 6 inside the arc. Yet, more than 50% of his shots are coming from the 3-point line. He shot 8 threes today. 8 threes. When he started cutting, which was out of freelance, by the way, it wasn't anything that Stotts drew up whatsoever. But when he started cutting, we got our easiest looks of the night. They couldn't stop us. Because what happens when you're guarding Derrick Jones Jr. and Damian Lillard has the ball? You're just watching Damian Lillard because you know at some point you're probably going to have to go and help. What were they doing? Derrick Jones Jr.'s cutting. They're getting lobs over the top. You know, they turned the ball over on one, but guess what, Eric? I would rather throw a lob with a 75% chance of it being dunked and a 25% chance of it being a turnover. I'd rather do that than shoot contested mid-range shots that have a 40% chance of going in. That's just simple common sense to me. Simple math. You know? There's another play they tried to throw a lob, and Jones Jr. couldn't dunk it, but he still caught the ball, and they were still in their offense.
Yep.
But we don't have any design sets that really try and utilize that. Instead, we've turned this guy into primarily a spot-up shooter. And what's funny is, like, you see how many times he cut today. It's like, oh, Derrick Jones Jr. is getting a lot of lobs today, a lot of cuts. His primary shot was still the three-point shot. And I know he's improved. I know he's shooting 33%. That's not his strength, though. It's like, oh my goodness, 33%, career high. He's still shooting 33%. That's still not good. It's still below average. He's still an athletic freak who can cut really, really well. But we've primarily turned him into a spot-up shooter.
This guy, Derrick Jones, led the league last year in cuts to the basket. Led the league. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I watched him in the first half. What did he do? Stand at the three-point line, brick. Stand at the three-point line, brick. Stand at the three-point line, brick. That lob is there almost every single play when they focus attention on Dame and CJ. It is almost always open. There is no excuse for turning him into a three-point shooter. There is no excuse for this team needing to shoot, how many, like, over 60% of their shots, I think, tonight were from three-pointer land. Like, it's not working. Do it just chucking as many threes as possible, combined with the lack of quality in the shots that we're getting. If it was within an offense and we were getting nothing but wide open threes, then maybe you could say, yes, this is the right way to do it. But most of our shots are in ISO and with a guy in our face, and then on the other end we're always leaving a shooter wide open somehow. But with Derrick Jones, like, we saw it, he got one cut and got a dunk, and then all of a sudden he was cutting multiple plays in a row. He gets subbed out, like, right after he had gotten another lob, and then he comes back in and doesn't cut again the rest of the game in the fourth quarter. It's, like, so frustrating. I don't understand why we just refuse to get easy baskets on this team. We don't do anything to make it easier on these guys to score. And if you do, like, what happened in the third quarter should have opened it up for when he does dive to the basket. That means the defense has to focus on him, right? So, or they give up the lob. That should leave the rest of the four guys able to do something to get open easier or get a better shot than go one-on-one and just take a crappy contested pull-up from three or mid-range or whatever. It's just such crappy offense, and I hate how that people think that this offense is actually good. We scored 41 points in the first quarter and only scored 112 for the game. That's 71 points in the last three quarters against a team that has just as bad of defense as ours. Like, so there's no excuse for that. Like, and I mean, we need to be better.
It goes back to, sure, we can shoot. By the way, 61% of our shots were threes today. We can do that and shoot contested threes, and CJ and Dame and Melo have the talent to still shoot a good percentage on those shots. So we can still score 120 points. That is why we still are a top 10 offense, albeit against an easy schedule, right? But what happens against good teams when they make it even tougher to convert those types of looks, when they contest your shots a little bit better, when they, run different looks out there and don't give you any sort of comfort? What happens then? We shoot 61% of our shots are threes. We shoot under 35% from three. We make 19 of them, but we shoot 55. But then our stuff inside the arc is not efficient whatsoever. We were 17 for 45 inside the arc, 38%. And they don't have, like, a good rim protector, in my opinion. DeAndre Jordan, some people might say he's a good rim protector. I think he's washed. They got Nicholas Claxton out there. But every time we're driving, it's against a set defense. With Derrick Jones Jr. going 5 for 6 inside the arc, we still shot 37% inside the arc. You take away his attempts. Let me just do the math on this. We were 12 for 39, which is 31% inside the arc, Eric, on non-Derrick Jones Jr. attempts. And that's including Enes Kanter, who was 6 for 8. Okay?
Yeah.
So if you take away Enes Kanter, who was 6 for 8, we were 6 for 31 inside the arc, which is 19%.
Ugh.
Outside of Kanter and outside of Derek Jones Jr., we were 19% from 2, 6 for 31. Okay? Because it's Dame and CJ driving against a set defense, loading up on him. It's much easier to guard a guy or help onto a guy when you're just set in the spot you should be and they're coming to you. Okay? It's much harder if you're having to move around because there's some sort of action and then they're driving against that. Not only will it lead to easier 2-point attempts, it will lead to easier 3-point attempts. Much more likely a defense gets confused and you get a quality look out of it from, on a kickout pass, right? But it's like Enes Kanter has 9 offensive rebounds. So it's not even like his interior shots are coming out of, any sort of set.
Good looks, yeah.
Yeah. Derek Jones Jr., all his cuts today that I can remember were out of freelance. No sort of system behind it. Okay? We do not have anything set-wise that's designed to get us easy looks inside the arc. We don't. Everything set-wise is designed for guys like Dame and CJ and Gary Trent Jr., Rodney Hood, and Carmelo Anthony to catch the ball on the 3-point line and make something happen. That's my biggest issue with our offensive system, and it has been for years. And it's hard to succeed against good teams like that. That's why we can't beat a good team.
And they don't even get good shots. And the problem is they hit enough of them to bail Stotts out in most games. Like Dame and CJ in particular were pretty terrible shooting the ball in this game. But if they just have a normal game, we would have won. And Stotts once again looks like a genius because we scored 120 points and beat the Nets by 4 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's just frustrating because, who did they have as rim protector in this game?
DeAndre Jordan, Nicholas Claxton, Blake Griffin, maybe.
But so I don't remember Jordan playing much outside of a few minutes at the beginning of the game, and
Claxton
a beginning. So they had 6 minutes where they didn't even have a center in there too. And did we attack the basket? Did Dame and CJ try to get lay-ins? There was one point where CJ got a lay-in, and I was saying right before that I had messaged some people that we need to take the ball to the rack against these guys. They have no rim protection in the game, and then CJ does it, and then the next 4 possessions were contested step back threes by several different people, and it's just Jackson puts it best. Tired of it. I'm tired of it, dude. It's get to the rim, be aggressive, get to the foul line like they did against us, and just
they were, by the way,
force the action on them.
They won because they beat us inside the paint.
Yeah.
They shot 56% from 2 on 32 for 57 shooting inside the arc. Okay, they got to the free throw line 27 times. We got there 23 times, but you would expect a team that attacks the basket more to get to the line more. They got 64 points inside the paint. And sure, you can say, oh, well, Kanter's rim protection, yada, yada. Okay, fine. But it's they'll have Blake Griffin in there at center for 6 minutes, and we don't try and do the same thing. Nicholas Claxton has potential to be a good rim protector, in my opinion, but instinctually he isn't quite there. DeAndre Jordan, I think, is a bit washed. Yeah, these aren't guys that you can't attack, But it's outside of, Enes Kanter getting offensive rebounds and Derek Jones Jr. cutting out a freelance once in a while, where, what's funny is he used to cut even more than he showed tonight. But for whatever reason, when guys come to Portland, even if they're not good 3-point shooters, they become primarily spot-up 3-point shooters. And that's what happened to Evan Turner. Remember? That's what happened to Evan Turner. We need a playmaker. We can't run an offense because we don't have a playmaker. Well, what happened with Evan Turner? He became primarily a spot-up 3-point shooter. I mean, it's not a personnel thing. So, I mean, I'm just looking at this game. We shot 34.5%. So it's not even we shot the ball bad. That's slightly below average, but we made 19 of 55. If we're just effective inside the arc, despite the fact that our defense wasn't good today, despite the fact that Dame and CJ were not hitting shots, we still win this game. if we just figure out ways to manufacture good shots inside.
Yep. But no, we have to settle for threes no matter what the game flow dictates. Well,
it's like we're down 3 with 2.5 minutes left or 2 minutes left, and it's like every possession there is just us forcing threes. Mm-hmm. CJ shot a 3. Dame shot honestly a very bad attempt. It was a very bad shot in my opinion. And then Rocco shoots a 3 like 5 feet behind the line with somebody running out in him. You know, like I guess, Rocco, like, yeah, take that shot. He was 4 for 5 from 3 before then, so like, yeah, take that shot. But it's just funny. It's like we're down 3 with 2 minutes left, and it becomes, okay, we have to make a 3. We're down 3.
Well, even with I think there was 4.4 seconds left, run a lob to Derrick Jones, get a quick 2, and then foul again. You still had a timeout. Whereas if you shoot a 3, that's going to waste all the time and it's going to be over. So, like you could have done all that within a second or two. Still had a second or 2 left to call a timeout after the free throws. Hope he misses one and advance the ball and get a shot at tying the game. But instead, we take a 3 down 4, and I don't know. It's just.
Just imagine if we had Aaron Gordon to fit into that. Eric, like
I'm telling you guys, this is why I was not happy when we signed Derrick Jones. This is why I was not happy when it was rumored that we were going after Aaron Gordon. Stotts will do the same thing that he did with Derrick Jones. He will not be a playmaker. He will not be some sort of missing link that unlocks all the ability of this offense. He will be turned into a spot-up three-point shooter, and I just think that's a waste to give up assets for someone that we can fix some of these problems without needing a guy like that. So, like, the fact that we would trade all these guys to get him is going to be frustrating if we do make a move like that. So hopefully we don't, but it's just any type of player like that, any 3 or 4 in this offense is going to be relegated to being a spot up shooter. And until that changes, it doesn't really matter what our personnel is. And I don't understand how people just excuse it because the offense is good against crappy teams where Dame catches fire and makes like 5 contested pull-up threes from 30 feet. Like, that doesn't mean that the offense is good. It just means we have incredibly talented players that can make shots. But I just can't imagine these guys getting better shots, how efficient they would be and how much easier it would be for them to outscore teams, even if our defense was bad.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's just like when you're not able to manufacture good shots inside, it's really hard against good teams that do a good job of defending the three-point line, Or it becomes a situation where if you're not shooting the ball well, you lose, no matter who you're playing, if you're not hitting threes. And in the playoffs, you're allowed to be a lot more physical on the perimeter defending guys without being called for a foul for it. That's the way playoff basketball is. It's called a little differently in the playoffs. So guys are able to press up on us a lot more, be a little bit more handsy with us, and it's a lot harder to get off three-point shots. But our offense is so heavily geared towards shooting contested threes as it is, that's why our offense goes to complete junk at times during the playoffs. And that's why.
Yep, and let's get to Andrew Miller's $10 donation.
Yeah, shout out Andrew Miller, $10 dono. He says, hey guys, another tough one. As always, your analysis is on point. I agree with your general narrative. I'm tired of it and something has to change. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Appreciate it, Andrew. Good to see you, man. Yeah, I mean, at this point, I am just like, the way they're playing right now, it's not going to work in the playoffs, and Stott's going to get fired for it. That's not that bad, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I just hate sacrificing a season that we have a talented roster.
Yes.
Just to have that accomplished. Like, either have the wherewithal to foresee that now, or like, I don't know, change the personnel. I don't know. It doesn't make sense the way this whole season is panned out between them saying that they got this personnel because they needed to change, them all talking about them changing and it being different this year, then that not happening and them reverting right back to all their old style and then playing the exact same way. But then they beat a bunch of crappy teams, so everyone's like, oh, look at this team. They don't have CJ and Nurk. Imagine when they get back. And now, like, all of a sudden we play good teams and our schedule gets tougher and look what happens. And, like, I don't know how anyone could have possibly seen it coming, right, Tori? Like, definitely not anyone in here watching us or us, right?
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not.
But I just don't get why, like, we're not seeing, like, if you want to shoot threes, like, why not send Gary Trent around a few picks and, like, design a play where he gets an open three or something? Like, I know he does get some open threes out of kickouts, but, like, especially with that second unit, and I just need to go off on a tangent real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Our second unit is absolute trash. We stand around, like Hood, Mello, Trent. These guys all just take turns dribbling the ball up the court and taking a crappy-ass shot every time. There's no offense. The other four players are just standing around waiting for the person to do something. There's no cohesion. There's no, like, screens or anything to get someone open. Like, what is Thoughts doing with our second unit? Like, why would he not... He's even said, I've heard him say multiple times this year, when Dame's not in the game, we need better sets and we need better structure and we need more movement, right? It never happens. You're not even taking your own advice. He's admitted that's what needs to happen, and it doesn't happen. Like, that's inexcusable. Our second unit is absolute garbage. When you have the 11th best scorer of all time in there, you have Gary Trent, who is certainly capable of scoring like 18 points a game like he showed while CJ was out. You have, he can't really make up for Hood struggling, but you have other guys who are certainly capable of scoring baskets. CJ should have came back in, and this should have been a way for him to be that facilitator that he was earlier in the season versus just chucking up the worst shot selection ever tonight. Like, he took so many bad shots in this offense, and it was all one-on-one isolation crap, and he did not get clean looks for the most part. And I'm sick of our offense being like that. There is no excuse for this offense. And you want to say, oh, but we have ISO players. That's what got them in the league. That's what they're good at. Like, no, that's BS. These players would thrive under an offense where they got better shots. Don't give me that crap that they have to take contested mid-range pull-ups just because that's what they're good at. Like, that's a load of crap. I'm just so tired of this crappy-ass offense.
Yeah.
And I don't even start on the defense either.
I mean, well, it's just like, if the defense is going to be this bad, we just got to outscore people. And we're not putting ourselves in the... Like, we could do a better job putting ourselves in a position to just purely outscore people. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like, yeah, the defense is the problem. They're ranked... Or the offense isn't the problem. Sure, okay, we're ranked 7th. But what happens against good teams? It gets shut down, especially in the playoffs. And our defense is this bad. We have to do everything we can offensively in order to win games. In order to win games against good teams, you know? Like, we're not a good basketball team right now. You look at our record and it would say we're a good basketball team, but we can't beat a good basketball team right now. If we were a good basketball team, we would be able to beat a good basketball team. Our best win... outside of Philadelphia, which is just fluky, all right? You know, it's like Stotts finally incorporated some of the movement we've been asking for him when they didn't have Dame because he felt like he had to, and they scored 121 points against the Sixers and blew them out and played some defense, you know, which only proves our point. But other than Philadelphia, they've beaten their best win in the year of 2021. We're almost 3 full months into it. Is against the Dallas Mavericks, who just blew us out by 40. This is not a good team right now. This is an average team masqueraded as a good team. And it's not something that Nurk is just going to come back and fix all this. You know, for all the people that said it's because of injuries, Nurkic is going to come back and everything's going to change. For everybody that says it's personnel, I don't remember many people saying personnel before the season. You know, it was actually, oh, Olshey had a good offseason. Now we're going to finally start holding Stotts accountable. Okay? For all the people screaming personnel, it's like, you really think Aaron Gordon is going to be used differently than Derrick Jones Jr.? Sure, he can pass a little better, but Derek Jones Jr. last year was actually pretty good. Had a short roll at making the right play, attacking the basket, making the right pass when he was playing for Miami, but we don't utilize him like that. We stick him in the corner, and we still run Dame into traps, where his outlet option is CJ across the court near half court with a 2-guard front that only really works if you're dealing with traps around the 3-point line, not half court. Okay? 2-guard front when you're dealing with traps around half court is terrible. It's terrible. Because the guy guarding CJ can just dig down on Nurkic, and that outlet in the middle of the floor isn't there. So, yeah, I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought. Basically, the offense, I don't like the offense. Just plain and simple. I don't like the way we play offense, and obviously I don't like the way we play defense. I mean, I like that Stotts is trying a little bit more, but the execution on some of it is just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And it's something that is coachable. It's like guys not trapping hard enough. Mm-hmm. Or, you had a video pointing that out. Or like Dame, even if we have a good trap, it's like Dame will fall asleep off ball and get beat backdoor and they'll give up a lay-in. You know what I mean? That's not buckets given up because we're trapping. That's buckets given up because we're not executing. There's a difference.
Yep. And, let's get to this other donation. Andrew Miller with another $10 one. He says, if we make a coaching move this season or off season, and this season is a bust, how much of this roster can we keep next year with a new coach? I'd like to see this roster under a different coach. I think if we wanted to and we didn't care about the tax, we could pretty much keep everyone. But I think there's going to be some people let go, primarily, Hood, if he's not traded in 2 days. I just don't, unless it's for like a much lower salary, I don't see us bringing some of those guys back. Derek Jones, I don't know. I mean, he's got a player option. I don't know at this point if he would accept it or turn it down, hoping for a bigger contract somewhere else. I don't know. I mean, right around $10 million is about what he'd probably get on the open market right now. So like, I don't know if he'd opt out or not, hoping for more years or something. And then the big two question marks are Trent and Collins, if they're on our team after Thursday. If Collins is healthy and he comes back, or if Trent, we re-sign him for buku bucks or whatever. So there's a lot of question marks, but technically, if they wanted to, I think they could pretty much keep intact the roster. Cantor is a free agent, but I guess we could offer him the mid-level exception or something, and he could probably stay as well.
Yep.
And so on your stream on the post-game stream from last game, so I was kind of half joking, mentioning Bertans being available, but like at this point, I'm almost like, screw it, we suck at defense. We might as well just get like the best shooters possible. If we're just going to be shooting 60% of our shots being threes, I'd much rather have someone like him who's a career 40+% 3-point shooter on 8 threes a game or whatever it is. Like just get the best volume shooters. Try to go after like a JJ Redick or something. Like just get all shooters at all 5 positions and find the best shooting center possibly available, and then I don't know, just go all in with it, like the Rockets did with their small ball last year, and just try to win that way. Because honestly, I don't think it can work doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Yep. I shouldn't have gone.
I don't want it. I don't want it to be that way, but
yeah. I've
you made a mistake.
I accidentally opened up Twitter and just my god, dude. I wasn't even I was listening, and then I saw something on Twitter, and oh my god. Shout out Andrew Miller, $10 dono. If we make a coaching move this seseason or off season, and this season is
I just read that.
Oh yeah, see, I totally. Okay, I just wanted to shout him out myself, bro. Stop, just another person on Twitter, basically saying they want to murder Terry Stotts. That's not okay. It's not okay. It's just not okay. Oh my god, man. It's not. Anyway. Oh god, sorry. What did I say last stream that you liked? Because that's about the time I saw the tweet, man.
Bertans and just going all in on shooting and
Oh yeah.
outscoring
I
teams.
mean,
Yeah,
like, yeah, if he was shooting the ball better, like, okay, but the problem is he's only shooting 38% this year. It's yeah, so I'm not down for that. Maybe if you're shooting 45%, maybe.
I mean, he's
Um,
shooting 38% on 8 threes a game, though. I mean, it's
I mean, but
like
Melo can provide you similar 3-point shooting, so.
but I mean, if that both.
Oh God, we're not winning like that. But I mean, you
Well,
got
we're not.
Rocco. You got
Well,
Rocco's pretty much all like he's the starting forward, and he's a similar caliber shooter. Like I think he's probably getting up to 38%. Might be 38% after this game. I know he doesn't fit the Blazers MO because he actually plays defense, but he's a similar shooter to what Bertans has been this year.
Andrew says, I'd rather go on defense. Yes, I mean, I would, but our coach has no clue how to coach on defense. One thing else, I want to mention, this is a good time to mention it. Okay, so Derek Jones, when he was in the game, for the most part, was matched up with Harden, right? I saw at least 4 times tonight where someone would come and set a screen on him, and the guy defending the screener, like usually like Rocco, there were several others that had this happen too, but 2 of the 4 times were definitely Rocco, where Rocco just auto switched like the pick, and Derek Jones was trying to fight through it, and then he saw Rocco switching or calling switch or whatever, and he could see him, and like he was mad that he had to switch off of Harden. He wanted to fight through the pick and stay with the play and stuff like that, and that's just like, I don't know, it's just frustrating because like, why not trap Harden in those situations? You have Rocco and Derek Jones, 2 of your best defenders, right? That's the perfect time to trap Harden with a hard, aggressive trap. And they were just auto switching, and then they'd have like Derek Jones Jr. on Claxton or something, and then Harden would just drive past Covington and lob it up to Claxton or kick it out to a 3 or whatever. And it's so frustrating. Like, we'd make the dumbest mistakes on defense, and if you don't think that's coaching, like I mean, I don't know how to explain it any differently than I've tried to do it on previous streams or on Twitter or whatever. But like, this stuff could be easily coached to be more aggressive and to trap harder than they're doing. They should be looking at film and watching that play I discussed and be like, why would we trap in that situation? There was no reason to trap. The trap, even if we did trap there, was completely unsuccessful. But instead, you know what Terry Stotts would probably say when he watched that play? Oh, see, we trapped hard and it didn't work out, Like, no mention that Dame fell asleep. No mention that the trap was weak. It's just so crazy to me how weak our defense is, and how it's just like the littlest things that an NBA team should not have trouble with. And I just don't get it. Like, you're never going to be good on defense with this weak ass crap.
Yep. I mean, it's just obvious at this point we need a different voice defensively. I mean, before the season, it was if Terry Stotts doesn't improve the defense, he'll be, I don't know, like on the hot seat or, fired or whatever. He hasn't improved the defense. At all. There's no excuse for him not improving the defense. The personnel improved. Okay? At the end of the season, we'll be lucky to be a 28th at this point, given how we face a hard schedule. And that's with Nurkic coming back hopefully soon. Okay? Last year, we didn't have Nurkic until the bubble. We didn't have Zach Collins almost all year. We didn't have Rocco. We didn't have Derek Jones Jr. Okay? We got all those guys now, or I mean, Nurkic should come back, play half the season, hopefully, or whatever. And you have Rocco and you have Derek Jones Jr. Like, how is our defense still that bad? You would expect, some of the guys to maybe improve too. If defense was such a priority this season, you would expect maybe a guy like Dame or CJ or someone to show some sort of improvement, or maybe Stotts to improve himself by figuring out how to be a better coach on that end. No improvement. There's no excuse for no improvement. It's unacceptable.
And all these guys talked about accountability, and if you're holding yourself accountable, you do not look as lazy on defense as Dame and CJ
Bro,
did
okay.
in this game.
I wanted to bring this up. The Blazers are last in getting to loose balls. I don't know if that's last in percentage of loose balls that they corral or...
Tori, no, I'm going to stop you right there, man. It's February. It was the second quarter. You cannot risk injury by diving.
Oh, yeah. I had somebody say to me, you want CJ to dive for a loose ball and get a separated shoulder? It's like, okay, now the excuse for effort is you'd get a separated shoulder, a broken hand. Like, oh my goodness. We're last in the league in terms of getting to loose balls. I don't remember the last time I've seen like a serious injury on a play where somebody dove for a loose ball. When was the last time you saw somebody get a separated shoulder from diving for a loose ball, Eric? Yeah, like,
I don't remember.
We're last in the league.
Most of the injuries are coming down on someone's foot or a shoulder, like on a rebound, not a loose ball.
Like, here's the thing with the players coach. If you're a players coach and you get your players to play insanely hard, they'll probably be decent on defense, just out of pure effort, okay? Mm-hmm. And if you're a players coach that can get your players to play extremely hard, there's something in that, The harder your players play, the more likely they'll be set up for success. Even if you're a bad X's and O's coach, you might hold back your team a little bit in that way, but your team might be able to make up for it a bit by playing extremely hard if you're a players coach. We have a players coach whose players don't play hard for him. We are last in the league in terms of corralling loose balls. We are the third worst defense in history. In terms of our offense, it's often a bunch of guys standing around. We don't play with effort. And we have a players coach who's, he gets the most out of his players. I don't see it. We're not playing hard. We're last in the league in terms of getting to loose balls. There's a play where CJ is twice as close to a loose ball as Blake Griffin is, and CJ just kind of like steps back while Blake Griffin dives for it. Mm-hmm. That extra possession, okay? I don't know if they scored out of it or whatnot, but that could have decided the game right there. That could have decided the game. So when we're, tied with a team who has a tiebreaker with us at the end of the season, or, maybe we're a game back and we have the tiebreaker, with the Mavs, but say we're a game behind them, you could point to plays like that and say, those few possessions where we didn't give the effort we should have, has us, maybe on the outside and looking in, maybe in a play-in game, maybe the 7th seed behind the Mavericks who are the 6th seed, and then we have to play in a play-in game just to get into the playoffs. So, that type of stuff is not acceptable. We got a players coach whose players don't play hard for him. I don't know how you can say the players play hard for him. Almost every game after the game, they're talking about how they need to be more intense defensively and give more effort. Doesn't sound like a team that plays hard to me.
Or we'll get the 8th seed and win the play-in game and face like Utah or something and lose in the first round and be like, well, our playoff streak's intact. Like, you can't complain about that, right?
Honestly, you probably could, because if you can't, if you spend 9 years and you can't get to contention like once out of those 9 years, it's probably a sign that you should have changed things up, either coach wise or roster wise, more drastically than whatnot. Like, I don't know. The status quo is not acceptable at this point, but it seems like there's a lot of people that are satisfied with the status quo, and the organization is satisfied with the status quo. I hope they're not. I hope the ownership is looking at this like, oh my goodness, we went out and got players that know how to play defense, and our defense got worse, and it's the third worst in history. And then, maybe they watch some of our games, hopefully, and they watch our offense and just like, could we really not go out and get a coach who can coach defense and then could still do the stuff we do on offense, because it seems like it's just a bunch of one-on-one. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a high bar to clear. So, honestly, Yikes. What?
Real quick, so Gordon just posted defensive ratings post All-Star break. Mm-hmm. 27th, T-Wolves 117.1, 28th, Celtics 117.3, 29th, Wizards 117.4, 30th, Blazers 121.6.
Where is that at? Is that on his Twitter?
No, it's right here in the chat.
Okay, so can I tweet that?
We're a full 4 points in defensive rating behind 29th since the All-Star break. Thank you, Gordon. We're gonna be good the rest of the year. We're gonna put it into focus. This is gonna be a priority. Rocco even said we're gonna be a top 10 defense. Oh my god, this is just unacceptable. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, after talking about being, top half. Yeah, sorry, that's a good tweet. That's a good tweet. If I can tweet that out, Gordon, I'll credit you. I'll credit you in it. What else from this game had you worked up, Eric?
Well, let me get to
and thank Andrew Miller for his $10 dono. Appreciate it, Andrew.
Yeah, so he says, do you guys get the feeling our defense is so bad? Rocco and DJ have to overextend themselves just to keep us in the game, like we're asking so much from them and not giving them any help. And it's the same thing I'll say about like Dame and CJ on offense. Like we make it so hard on them to score that it's not excusable, but then it's like obvious why they're having energy problems or not getting back on D and stuff like that. It's just the amount of energy those guys, because Rocco and DJ especially have to make up for Dame, CJ, and Cantor, right? So, and our crappy scheme. So basically, they have to guard the ball handlers like 90% of every possession, and that takes a toll on you throughout the game. And if we had better schemes and better things designed to use less effort on both ends of the court, then I think everyone would be having to extend themselves less. I agree with that.
Yep.
And then I just want to get to one thing Block Boy says as well, that Stephen A. Smith mentioned that they have to break up Dame and CJ or something, and that he thinks it might be time to do that. I want to see this team with a different coach. Like, they've had a chance with this roster and this coach, with Dame and CJ being the focus of this team. I want to see what a different coach could do with them if they could unlock anything more than what Stotts has. And if it looks the same or whatever, even though the schemes have improved, then I will absolutely agree that maybe it's time to break them up. But as of right now, I still think our best path of winning a championship, even if it is an outlier to have a backcourt like that, is to do it through having both Dame and CJ, who are both capable of taking over a game in the playoffs.
Yep. That's insane. Okay, what? We are 4.2 points worse per 100 possessions than the second to worst defense since the All-Star break. And that's the Wizards. So, Gordon, I don't know if you have this up, but like 4.2 points better than the Wizards, what team and placement is that? Like, we are as far away from second to last since the All-Star break as second to last is to who? That's what I want to know. Like who has like a defensive rating of 13.2, because that's 4.2 points better than 29th, who is 4.2 points better than us. I'm curious about that one. My goodness. Like all this talk, oh yeah, this will be a top half defense. Let's be a top 10 defense. We are last, and it's not even remotely close. And it's just going to get worse in terms of our quality of opponent. People expect Nurkic to come back and have that much of an impact on our defensive rating that will become average when we are this bad? Don't see it. I don't see it. We're still going to be terrible defense. There's no way we should be that bad defensively when you have Robert Covington and Derrick Jones Jr. on the team. Like, even with everybody else being kind of questionable, there's no way you should be that bad. No way. No way.
Nope.
Because like Dame was an average became like an average-ish defender last year and the year before. He's regressed too. Like it's just he wasn't bad.
We let broken down Blake Griffin beat us down the court for a lay-in. Like we don't even get back in transition. That's how bad we suck. Like what coach does not tell at least one of their players to get back on defense when a shot goes up? It's so ridiculous. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, God. I told you guys the defense wasn't going to be okay.
And let me just say this about I engaged with someone on Twitter earlier who said when guys like CJ are paired with Dame, it'll be hard to ever compete on defense. And so, like, I was trying to be nice. Like, can I ask you why you don't think it can work on defense? Is it because CJ is undersized? If so, how many teams kill us simply because of that? And then why was the defense worse when CJ was out than if that's the case? And then I said, if your answer to that last question is Cantor, then why was the perimeter and pick and roll defense still not good when they went small with Rocco at the 5 and all that stuff? You know, the typical questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that size helps on defense for sure, but it's really just a skill set and effort issue, in my opinion. So, I asked, so not trying to put words in your mouth, but other than effort, what makes up a skill set of a good defender? Because in my mind, like Bruce Bowen, Avery Bradley, Patrick Beverly, these type of defensive specialists, like there's nothing special about their skill set. They just want to play defense and they're good at it. Like, you know what I mean? But you can't tell me that if Dame had one of the mindsets of those guys on defense, or had the same mindset he has on offense on the defensive end, that he wouldn't at least be better on that end, right? If he wasn't making mistakes and he had the effort and an attitude of a winning defensive player, right? Yeah. So it's just it drives me crazy when people just say it can't work because of the small backcourt, when once again, like, it wasn't because Harden was posting us up or like CJ had a mismatch every time down the court or whatever. He was guarding like TLC and players like that tonight. It's not like he can't stop them or shouldn't be able to stop them. Like Dame or CJ, both of those guys should be able to keep Joe Harris in front of them, but like he just drives right around our defense like it's nothing. It's just so ridiculous. And then we had a play at the end, I think it was the end of the third quarter, where we had the ball with 23.8 seconds left. So we could have held till last shot, but CJ takes like a contested 3 and he makes it with 10 seconds left. And then they go down and just drive right down the lane and score on us, you know? And like, it's like, you take that shot at the buzzer, so you can't get another shot. It's just like we do so many little detailed things throughout the game. But this guy, after, like, I was trying to keep it civil.
So who is this, by the way?
This is some guy on Twitter.
Okay, some guy on Twitter. Shout out to some guy on Twitter.
Yeah. His name was Blazer Chris. I don't know, as his Twitter handle. I don't know if you want to be shouting that up, but he said that people won't like me saying this, but Dame and CJ constantly hitting the floor and complaining to the refs is part of the problem. Also, we spend too much time covering as they work their way back up the floor. So I said the coach has no responsibility in allowing them to complain instead of getting back and for their effort level on defense. And he said, not really. You know, big names like Dame and CJ, you can't tell them what to do, basically. And then he says, I'm sure he says things, but owning a franchise is about money, and that sometimes doesn't equate to gameplay. You and I will never know what conversations happen or what pressure is put on from Neil or the front office. So let
me just say this. Guess what? If you win more games and have a deeper playoff run, you make more money.
Yeah, right. I know, exactly. So I said, wait, are you implying that the front office may not let Stotts tell Dame not to complain about fouls or to play defense harder? And his response was, I really don't care to debate this. It's all opinions and speculation. So this guy's literally excusing the coaching because the front office might be telling them not to play defense. Like, I don't understand. Like don't ever hold Dame and CJ accountable. We can't have that. Like, how many times do we have to talk about the teams like Steve Kerr with Steph Curry and Popovich with Tim Duncan? Like, those people, those coaches went out of their way to make sure those stars knew that they were not going to get a pass and that they were going to be expected to do things that they might feel are comfortable. And if you don't like that, honestly, I don't believe that Dame and CJ then all of a sudden not want to play anymore, like complain and moan if their coach expected more out of them or whatever. I just don't believe that. But if they did, like, those aren't the type of players you want on your team anyway. So, like, make that decision and hold them accountable. And if they don't react the right way, then you maybe looked at trading a CJ if he's not happy because you're calling him out on defense or whatever. He deserves to be called out on defense. Like, there's no way we should be coddling these guys at this point in their career. It's you guys are 30 years old or however old they are. It's go time. You either need to start doing it the right way and trying to do this, or, I mean, it's just going to be a nice career with no accolades and no championships. And you might not get a championship anyway, but I guarantee you won't be doing it. You won't be getting one playing like this. So if they don't take kindly to that and are, like, more mad that you called them out than doing what it takes to get to that next level, we're screwed anyway. So you might as well do it and try. But the problem is, I don't think Stotts has any clue how to teach them how to be better defensively. So it's never going to change as long as Stotts is the coach, because he can't hold them accountable the way they need to be.
Yep. Could you imagine, right? Let's say we lose the first round, but then we fire Stotts. Imagine how hyped that stream would be. Like, I don't know. I don't want the man to lose his job, but he's made more than enough money to be very comfortable for the rest of his life. He's not getting the job done here. It is what it is. I would be so excited if he got fired, just because I feel like it'd be giving this team the chance to hire the right guy to give us a chance at a championship, and that would be so exciting. And just, it would be fun to see something new, a different style play. So that stream would be something else. The Stotts got fired stream. I mean, that's just the silver lining with this, is I think it might happen.
Hired, like I said last stream, Brett Brown or somebody.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If we hire Brett Brown, at least all the people that loved Stotts would then probably not be against us if we were criticizing Brett Brown. You know what I mean? And it'd be like something new.
No, it would be like, you idiots, this is what you wanted. Even though if the coach...
No, and then it'd be like, we didn't want Brett freaking Brown. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know. I feel like this organization wouldn't go for a retread, though. It would probably be Vanderpool, let's just being honest.
Yeah, probably.
It probably would be. But still, I would take it, you know. Thing is, if you hire Vanderpool, you can't fire him because Dame is just going to... I don't know, man. Like, I don't really buy into, like, oh, if you fire Stotts, he's like, Dave's just going to want out or whatever, or any of that type of stuff. But if you fire Stotts to hire Vanderpool and then a year later you fire Vanderpool... I don't know. That's not. Yeah, you basically if you hire Vanderpool, you are tying your boat to that ship for the rest of Dame's career.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I would be mad that this team didn't perform in the playoffs again, and that we let it happen again and wasted another year. So, like, I hope. I don't know how it's going to change. I really don't. I don't, like, no trade's going to make a difference. No. Short of bringing in someone right now and giving him control the rest of the season, time to, like, even if it's just an assistant, like, I mean, even Jim Boylan, bring in Jim Boylan right now, make him an assistant, and give him till the end of the year to see if he can fix the defense. And, like, short of something like that happening, I don't have any confidence that we're going to see anything different. And then we'll probably get some games where CJ goes crazy in the playoffs or whatever, and we almost win a game, or we don't get swept and we get a gentleman's sweep or whatever. But that's, like, the best we have to look forward to. It's really frustrating. And then people will be like, see, Dame can't play in the playoffs, but it's not because of Dame. It's because, like, we don't have a system to get him going in the playoffs when their defense is completely focused on him, and then we don't change anything from game to game. So it's just going to be the same stuff that we've been talking about for years. Like I said earlier, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. I just want a new set of eyes and just see some new things out there instead of talking about the same stuff over and over again. So it'll be great when that day comes, but, like, at at the expense of them blowing another season in the first round, I can't be too excited about that. But yeah, this.
I mean, it's just a silver. That's what a silver lining is. You know, it's if we blow this year's playoffs, it's not going to be like when we blew it against the Pelicans. It's like, oh, Stott's going to come back, like, and it's still going to be all the same issues. It's going to be. I mean, it sounds like if they lose in the first round, he's gone. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
You know, that's
especially if the defense is.
Yes. So either way, there's something good. No matter what. I mean, I would hate. Okay, I think the worst case scenario, actually, Eric, would be winning in like 7 games in the first round against I don't know, like a shoot. Who would we play against? Against like a Phoenix Suns team or a Utah Jazz team. And then we go to the second round and play the Clippers, the Lakers, and just get demolished and get swept. But since we made it out of the first round, Stotts comes back.
Second round, yeah.
Yeah, like, that's the worst case scenario, you know? I don't know. Like, I would root for them to make the second round, but it's just, I don't know. It's weird, man. It's weird. Shout out Kyle Wilson, $5 donut. He says, that's like what Mariners owner said in 2002. The Mariners owner said, we don't want to win a World Series. We want to be competitive and make money. That was Howard Lincoln's quote. Since then, the Mariners have been the worst organization in all of pro sports. With that mindset.
Hard to argue with that, yeah.
And that's how our mindset feels like at times. Like, say, like, God, just the way that's worded, you know, say, we want to win a World Series, but at least we just want to be competitive and a good business and, you know, make money. Like, that is more understandable to say we don't want to win a World Series. Like, come on now. And then shout out Andrew Miller, $10 dono. He says, I'm not on board with trade CJ, but what is the best hypothetical package that is realistic that we could get for him either this season or next? Just curious. There's nobody at the deadline that makes sense other than maybe Pascal Siakam, I guess. Like, Pascal Siakam, Norman Powell is like the only thing at this deadline that really makes sense that might be available. Other than that, I can't think of anything. Next season, who knows who could be on the trade block? We don't know, so it's hard to say next season.
Yeah. I mean, my dream has always been a Middleton swap. Like, if the Bucks just somehow realize that they need an ISO scorer versus Middleton, but.
I want a Middleton swap with a new coach, though, because then Middleton would become an ISO player and ISO. He'd try and become an ISO scorer. I feel like I love Middleton,
passes,
but
though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And Allison's joke. She said, "If we happen to win the title, hypothetically, would we keep Stotts?" Yeah, if we win a title,
well, yeah. I mean, but at that point, it'd be like, "Oh my goodness, we won a title. I don't care. Like, we won a title. That's all we want, and we got it." So. Stotts can take a nap every game and still be the head coach, and I don't care at that point. Yeah. I mean, honestly, the next season it'd be like, I don't know, but it's just like my whole thing is like we can't win a title playing this way. If they somehow inexplicably won a title playing this way, I'd be like, okay, all right. I just don't think they can. I think it's pretty obvious they can't win a title playing this way. So if they prove me wrong with that, I won't complain about the style of play anywhere near as much. You know, because basically it's just I want to win a championship, and that's why I have an issue with the style of play, so to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we haven't won a championship. Sorry, I wish we were. My only hopes for a championship are Gonzaga, and Eric's only hopes for a championship is Oregon State. Believe it or not, man. I mean, y'all got Loyola Chicago. Y'all could make the Elite Eight as a 12, to be honest.
Dude, Loyola's tough though. I'm not looking ahead at all. I'm like, we got to beat Loyola. They're a good team, man.
Yeah. What's up, Evan from Valley Pod? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like. But still, though, you beat Tennessee, who defensively is like just as good as Loyola, in my opinion, and they have like some decent offensive players. You know, you got 2 guys that are likely lottery picks, or at least first round picks, in Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. Both those guys are up there on draft boards. And then you beat Oklahoma State, who had Cade Cunningham. That busted my bracket. I had them in my Final Four. I did not have the luck this year. I think I could still win the bracket pool, but like I need USC to beat, because I had USC in the Elite Eight, so I need them to beat Oregon.
the thing you have going for you is that was the same bracket that had Illinois, so them losing means between Illinois and Oklahoma State, I
Yeah,
think most people had one of those two teams, so I think you're fine. Uh,
exactly. But Loyola
my
Chicago won first, and it was like, oh, if Oklahoma State could just win, they'd have to beat Loyola
right,
Chicago to get to the Elite Eight. Like, that's pretty good.
and then Houston barely squeaked
Bro,
out a
okay.
win.
What if they lost? You'd have an 8 versus 12 in the top part of that bracket, and then you'd have a
Yep,
10 versus 11.
yep.
That would have been funny. Like,
And the Oregon State, I would be sitting here like, oh my gosh, Final Four maybe.
that that is like that would be more shocking than the Blazers. I feel like Oregon State making the Final Four, given the position they were at, would be more shocking than the Blazers winning a championship.
Yeah,
Like more out of left field, because I saw at one point they were like 7-9 this season, had like a 1 in 820 chance of just making the second round, and they did better than that at this point. They made the Sweet 16. Like, I mean, that's pretty dope, man. Like that's crazy to
yeah.
me.
I mean, I'm playing with house money at this point right now. I'm so happy. Like I didn't even think that see them make the tournament this year, let alone win 2 games in it. So it's been a fun ride.
Evan, are you the Creighton fan? One of the people, like, I forget. I think it's Saltiest. No, the Valley podcast. I forget who runs that, who is DMing me. But apparently, one of them is a Creighton fan, so Gonzaga plays Creighton. Gonzaga plays. That's Gabe. Yeah, apparently Gabe is a Creighton fan, so Gonzaga plays Creighton. I like Gonzaga's road now. You don't have to deal with Iowa. You have to beat Creighton, which I think Creighton is. I mean, knock on wood and everything, but they barely beat UC Santa Barbara, and then they played Ohio. Like, they have not played anybody good. They were terrible before the tournament, so I'm feeling pretty confident. And then you get USC or Oregon. I like Gonzaga's path to the Final Four. Man, we should just turn this into March Madness Uprise for like a month, man. Because I'm having a lot more fun discussing this.
We have the Ducks too, which we haven't mentioned.
Yeah,
Still
Ducks
alive.
fans.
Pac-12 have 4 of the 16 teams after being left for dead earlier in the season.
Bro, it's crazy. It's like once you get into the tournament, certain conferences show that they've been overrated all season long, and we're overrated seeding wise. Big Ten is and honestly, the Big Ten is always overrated in my opinion. Other than Michigan State, when Michigan State has good teams, like I always pick upsets against the Big Ten, and it pays off. I feel like it's paid off for years. So I picked Oral Roberts as a 15 seed to beat Ohio State. Problem is, Ash Parsa picked them to go to the Sweet 16. So that kind of he's in the lead right now, and for good reason. He also had Oregon in the Elite Eight. I think he had Oregon versus USC in the Sweet 16. He called that right. So Parsa's looking good for that. But I mean, yeah, it's cool. You got 3 teams from Washington and Oregon. And Eastern Washington was looking good against Kansas there for a bit, and that was my 14/3 pick. Too bad they couldn't get it done. But yeah.
I got Gonzaga and Baylor obviously in those brackets, but I think my path to winning is I have Florida State as my surprise Final Four team. So if they can somehow get out of that bracket, I think I have a pretty good chance of winning as long as Gonzaga won it all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because if they win, you would get 11 points if they win the Sweet 16 game. Then if they make it to the Final Four, you get another 16 points for them. So that'd be like 27 points that other people probably wouldn't have. So that's a pretty good amount. Let me look at the bracket pool.
Real quick while you're doing that, Andrew Miller with another donation, killing it like always. $5 donation says, how lit would this channel be if we win the championship any year? Yeah, so Tori and I always talk about, Tori started the channel, shortly after the Blazers Western Conference Finals run, and we talk about how awesome that would have been to be on with you guys after those games. The 4 overtime game, the Dame wave goodbye shot against OKC, CJ coming up clutch in Game 7. Like, all those games would have been so amazing to have a show and celebrate with all you guys and girls after that stream. So yeah, hopefully we have a run like that at some point in the future. We can all come in these streams and be totally stoked. The Game 1 against Lakers was obviously pretty awesome. With the exception of, we kind of knew that it was like we weren't going to change anything after that game, and that we were probably not win another game, but it was fun just being up 1-0 on the Lakers when it happened. But that was about the only super stoked joy we've had since starting the shows, right?
Yeah. Paul's saying the player graphics need to be an every night thing. We talked about the players we need to. It doesn't need to be an every night thing. Honestly, after this game, I didn't even feel like streaming, to be honest. But we'll stream every game. I'm not gonna make the player graphics for every game. Like frustrating loss. It's just, I don't know. If I had somebody else to make them for me, then sure, and they could just send me the folder and whatnot. It's just making them during the stream is a bit distracting when I want to actually fully focus on what Eric is saying and what I'm saying. Now, we also had to touch on some Twitter stuff. So yeah, I mean that's how it is. But yeah, I mean, there's been good and bad moments with our streams. There's been fun moments. There's we got a big 3 stream coming up. I'm very excited for that. Our big three streams every year is the trade deadline, free agency, and the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless there's a trade like the Rocco one, which was a random awesome night.
Yeah. But Speaking of our bracket poll, though, that's why I picked Baylor. Everybody ahead of me, I'm in 6th right now. I'm 40 points behind the lead. Everybody ahead of me has Gonzaga. Almost everybody in this bracket poll, there's about 20 people in here. I think about 14 of them have Gonzaga. Somebody had Illinois. Malcolm had Kansas. That's an L. So my whole thing is if Baylor wins it, I got a good chance of winning it. That's my whole thing. I hedged my bets. I got Gonzaga Baylor in the championship, but I picked Baylor. I want Gonzaga to win, obviously. I want Gonzaga to win much more than the bracket pool. I've never had a team in anything win a championship. I want to know what that feels like and just get that monkey off my back, Maybe that'll open up the floodgates for the Niners to finally win a championship for me and the Blazers to win a championship for me. But I just want to feel what it's like to win a championship with something. But WN, yeah, I had Syracuse in the Sweet 16. That's one of my upset picks that has worked out. Should have picked them to go to the Elite Eight, honestly. I think they could definitely beat Houston. Syracuse just always does good in the tournament, no matter how they've played during the regular season.
Well, I think they do better when they're bad and barely make the tournament versus when they're one of the top seeds. They hardly ever, with the exception of the year they won it all with Melo. But I think outside of that, most of the years they get upset if they're a high seed and they go deep if they're a bad seed.
A few years ago, they were the first 10 seed to make the Final Four. So it's just I always generally, at this point, I'm rolling with Syracuse. If they're an 11 seed, I'm picking them to make the Sweet 16. I'm just doing it. Start Bulldogs, Uprise, Tory. Yeah, if only yeah. Here's the thing: starting new channels, despite me having 4,200 subs on this one, is it's a lot of work and it's a grind to gain subs. It's not definitely not easy, but maybe 5 years from now there will be a Bulldogs Uprise. But Tori used to not stream some nights last year. That was normally okay. How many streams did we miss last year, Eric? Do you think?
I'd say 6 to 8.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And what were the reasons for those? Normally it was out of my control, from what I remember.
No, there were a lot of nights you just didn't want.
Was there?
Yeah. And then I finally convinced you to just let me on those nights stream by myself, and then
ever since then I've streamed.
Since then, you've pretty much streamed every time or done it anyways.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I think I had 2 solo post-game shows last year during the regular season, and then you were there for all the rest.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not as mad about losses this year. It's just there are definitely days where I just don't really. Definitely games where it's just I don't really want to stream just because I'm just I'm tired of the team, but I'll still do it. And honestly, once I go live, it's I'm not I enjoy it still. But there's definitely days where I'm excited to stream. It's just I haven't had a stream where I've been excited to stream in a while. The last stream that I was really excited to stream was when we beat the 76ers without Dame. I was so excited to stream. It's just If we beat the Lakers, when we beat the Lakers earlier in the season, like that, I was excited for that, like really excited for that stream. And there's probably a few others I was just like really excited for. But I don't know. It's just like the teams we're beating are mediocre teams, and then we're losing to every good team we play, and the style of play isn't what it should be. It's just like, I don't know. It's rough. But I will be excited to do the trade deadline stream. I'll be excited for that. That's just something different.
That is true, Trevin. So prior to the season being shut down last year, there was a lot of things that, events or things that conflicted with shows as well. So, because we were allowed to like go do stuff.
Yeah, and like we'd go to games and whatnot. So yeah. We'll have to figure that out. Like if I'm going to a Blazer game or whatnot, I gotta teach Eric how to do the graphics. We gotta get you set up like with the graphics, because it's honestly not that hard. Yeah. So like next season when we can go back to Blazer games, I'll probably like, or if you go to Blazer games, we solo it for 30 minutes and bring on the other. But yeah, so I don't know. Like next year when we will be able to go to games again, that will be. I'm wondering if we'll be able to go to a game again this season, because you see a lot of stadiums start to open up. I'm wondering, does Oregon have any update on that?
I think outdoor stadiums like Timbers and Thorns and stuff just got approved like a week ago to do like 25 for 50% or something. And I don't think the indoor stadiums will be too far behind. I don't know if they'll have something where you, like honestly, if they had a thing where if you brought proof that you were vaccinated, I don't see why it would be a big deal to have fans here in a few weeks once we have a majority of the people that want it vaccinated. So yeah, man, kind of close to the end of the season, but yeah, I don't know.
There just needs to be some sort of system where you have some sort of electronic vaccine card or something, and then when you go to buy tickets, you have to like have that like electronic vaccine card. Maybe there's a number on it or whatever that you like enter into, the website or whatever when you're buying tickets, and then you get your tickets that way. Like I don't know. That seems like a logical system.
Yeah. Or have. I mean, if it's limited to a certain amount of people, it would probably be season ticket holders. So then, once a season ticket holder proved they were vaccinated, then they could go to the games, but they can't sell their tickets or something. Maybe I don't know.
Here's the thing, though. It's just like if everybody's vaccinated, couldn't you have a full stadium? If everybody's vaccinated?
Well, they're still.
I know they're still like figuring it out, like how much it transmits.
There's still the issue with they just because you're vaccinated and it doesn't affect you, you could still possibly pass it on.
I've heard it severely cuts transmission though, like severely, like up to 95% or something. So yeah, obviously.
I think until we reach the threshold of whatever percentage, I think it's like around 70% needs to be vaccinated, and then 2 weeks after that point, I think then we can start talking about that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's until that point.
Yeah,
I think we still have to have the
I mean, the season ends in July, so it's basically a situation where you're definitely not going to have all fans in the stadium. Should probably end up with some fans back in the stadium, but just limited capacity. But when next season starts, that's there's I think a very decent chance that you have full stadiums, because that's October and we're supposed to reach that percentage by then, like well before then. So obviously the world is crazy, you don't know what could happen, anything could happen, but I feel like there's a decent chance starting next season it's like kind of back to normal in that regard, which would be awesome.
Blazer 2K is saying that's against HIPAA laws. HIPAA laws apply.
What's against HIPAA laws?
Requiring a vaccine to go to a game. That is
no, it's not. That is not.
Rights to do
that is not what HIPAA is about. My mom is a nurse. Don't even get me started.
HIPAA laws protect employees from having their employers disclose medical information for them or using them against it.
Yeah, it's basically protects like nurses and doctors from disclosing a patient's medical information without their consent, or an employer disclosing their employees. Basically, it stops people in positions of, power where they're able to know somebody's medical information. It stops them from disclosing it to anyone without the patient's permission, so to say. So like if you're a doctor or something, you're not supposed to go home and like even tell your family about, oh yeah, there's this patient named so-and-so and they have this. Like, that's against HIPAA. That's the type of stuff that's against HIPAA. Requiring a vaccine card to purchase tickets HIPAA doesn't apply to that.
Mm-hmm. That's funny. Gordon says that's the issue with America. No offense to you guys. It's toughest to prevent the spread when there's so much misinformation. Yeah.
I mean, we've barely talked about it. Okay, once it started in like April and like May, oh my goodness, you guys could probably go rewatch those streams and laugh at how dumb we are. Just like, but the thing is, everybody was dumb back then. Nobody knew, So like, there's a stream on the night that they canceled the season, and I'm just depressed. I'm just super depressed. I don't know if that was on this channel or the Blazers Uprise live channel, but you can go back down that rabbit hole to some of those streams from almost a year ago. It's crazy that it hasn't been a year. It feels, okay, sometimes I feel like, dang, time's flying, but then I think about like, okay, those streams, Eric, feel like they're like 3 years ago.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? They're not even a year old. They're not even a year old, man. That's insane.
And for the record, Tori and I have both been on the super cautious side when it comes to this whole pandemic. Neither of us have really done anything to expose ourselves or do anything crazy. So we've been super good and tried to follow all the rules and all that kind of stuff.
I've always said, whatever the state says I need to do or not do, I will do it. Mm-hmm. Wear a mask, I'll do it. Can't do this, can't do that, can't have gatherings of more than 5. Like, okay, cool. Washington just moved on to phase 3 of their reopening plan, and in phase 3, you can play pickup basketball. So today, as I said, I'm just going to do whatever the state allows me to do or says I can't do. But the state says we're allowed to play pickup basketball now. So, like, my mom's fully vaccinated, fully covered, fully protected. My grandmother's fully vaccinated, fully protected. So, those are really the only 2 family members I'm ever really around. So, I'm not having to worry about that. If you are worried about that, I wouldn't recommend playing pickup basketball or something like that. But, yeah, so I played pickup basketball today for the first time in over a year. My goodness, I have no rhythm. I was doing some cool stuff off the dribble, but when it came to just shooting the ball, Eric, oh my goodness, I was bad. Like, I felt so clunky out there, man. And it was crazy because I've been shooting around and like felt like really good, like just with my movement and my footwork on stuff. And then I get into a pickup game and it's just like all that is out the window.
Yeah, I went, so my little getaway, found a park with a basketball hoop where no one was playing at. And, I was like, yes, because I brought my basketball just in case I found that exact scenario. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, neither of the hoops were. I think they were supposed to be 10 feet, but they were definitely not.
Were you out there dunking?
I did throw down a few on one of the hoops.
Do they not have gyms open there, or do you just not want to risk it?
The gyms, like the one I go to for basketball, it's open, but the basketball court is closed.
The basketball court is closed. Yeah, I think it's that way at like LA Fitness, but in my gym, the basketball court's been open, and not many people have been going in there. Did run fours today though. Did run fours. It was just fun. I realized like I was getting in just like shooting around. It's like, okay, I feel like I'm getting better shape. And then I played pickup today. Dude, I am so out of shape. Oh my goodness. I am so out of shape. It's so rough. Yeah, it's gonna be an adjustment period, man. I feel old now, but it was the first time I played pickup basketball since the whole entire pandemic started. So nice. Yeah, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. Maybe this summer we'll get some pickup runs. That's the plan. Shout out Andrew Miller, $5 dono. He says, how do I get in stream? I'd like to talk about our shared experience. Also talk about classic Blazers. I think it would be fun. Honestly, you've donated so much that I would let you hop on a stream if you wanted. So DM me or email me.
Yeah, probably after the trade deadline when we don't have so much
Yes.
to discuss. Definitely a thing.
Yes.
And for those of you that have only been here a short time, the trade deadline stream last year was epic. Tori and I both really thought the right decision was to trade Whiteside, and then we were both totally confused as to why we gave Scal away for free. And then later that day we had a game just like the scenario this year, and then we listened to Olshay's comments about the trade deadline, and I had some pretty epic rants that evening about what he said during the post-game show. So it was a lot of fun, but we talk about all the trades and how it affects the teams and the races and all that stuff, and it's just kind of a chill day. And it's a lot of fun, and we'll be here bright and early on Thursday and take you through. Of course, if something big happens Blazer-wise, like tomorrow or something, we'll probably go live and talk about it. But other than that, we'll be streaming most of the day, because then we have a game at 4:30, and then
just please we'll
have the post game show as well. And the trade deadline ends at noon Pacific time.
Yep. And this is what I decided to do a gold graphics like template. So I got to come up with what I'm going to do graphically over the next 2 days. Definitely will go all out for the graphics. But yeah, I was clean shaven. My background completely different. The only problem is what time should we start streaming, Eric?
I'm down for whatever.
I mean, obviously my hours are going to be screwed up going into it. I'll have to get some energy drinks and whatnot because my hours are not good. I'm falling asleep at 5 a.m. So we're probably going to be streaming at 8 a.m.?
8 or 9, yep.
When did we start last year?
I want to say it was around 9. I think we started a few minutes before I got here, and then I want to say it was 9.
Oh, I had a countdown. Look at that countdown. That countdown's pretty sick. And then Eric wasn't there. Yeah, you weren't there for a while. I think you were taking your kids somewhere. This is right before the pandemic started.
Grandma and Grandpa's house. Yeah.
But yeah, so Pistons rumored to be keeping Andre Drummond and Derrick Rose. I'm just looking back at these graphics. Of course, then they traded Drummond to the Cavs.
Or a second round pick.
Let's see.
Real quick, $10 donation from Gray Hughes Investigates. What's up, man? Thanks for the support as always. Says, Dame and CJ can't shoot that bad from 3 like that and win 2 games in a row now. That's why we need to also have 2-point shots in our arsenal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely agree. We were terrible inside the arc tonight, but we weren't great shooting the 3 either, but we didn't attack the basket outside of a few-minute stretch of lobs to Derrick Jones, and then inexplicably went away from any sort of attack to try and get to the free throw line or get 2-point shots in this game. And yeah, if Dame and CJ aren't hitting shots, it's just those all combine for a really tough way to win, especially considering our defense isn't going to stop many people.
Yep. I'm just looking back at some of these trades. There was the Iguodala, Crowder, and Solomon Hill for Justice Winslow, James Johnson, Deion Waiters. That was a great trade for the Heat, obviously, even though they only have Iguodala left. But getting Jake Crowder for that playoff run was a great pickup. They were shopping Kelly Oubre. That was Phoenix. Of course, they traded him in the offseason. Oh my goodness, all these ads. Why are all these ads on here, man? Anyway, yeah, that's what our trade deadline stream looked like last year. What do you guys think I should go for graphically? Wait, why is that there? Okay. What do you guys think I should go for graphically? Should I go gold again? Should I go, normal red? Should I go blue? We haven't done anything blue graphically. Could go blue, that's an NBA color. It's a new color.
Reese says, don't go gold.
Don't go gold.
Dead Inside says silver. GK says diamond.
Diamond.
Or pink.
Diamond.
Kyle Wilson says, go all goth.
All goth. Keep it black and white. Black and white's boring, bruh. I mean, okay, so I'm going to have... Let's go back to the draft. Wait, the free agency stream. Let me look at what I did for the free agency stream because I kind of forget. By the way, the numbers on that free agency stream were insane. Always curious to see what the numbers look like for our big streams.
Adam Smith, I don't think the Suns would trade Jay Crowder, so I don't know.
By the way, if Valley Pod is still in here, I'll send any Suns fans we see your way. I'll give you guys that plug. And if you guys do anything, plan is to bring one of them on. More than one is kind of hard to sort out. So probably Gabe or
Gordon said he was watching the stream where True Blazer fan introduced a young Torrey Jones.
Oh, that video
with some weird colors going on in the background.
Oh yeah,
weird lights.
Oh my goodness, my camera presence was nowhere near as good as it is now. This was what we did for, in case you guys weren't here. This is what we did for free agency. So I'm thinking about having the top left. Should I do top left? The Twitter accounts, Eric? Should I do that again?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. I want to do something different for the graphics down here, though. That's the part I have to figure out. And then I'll have, like, a trade ticker at the bottom, because I had that for free agency. I had, like, the signings on the bottom.
Have it be brown like our Oregon jerseys.
Hell no. But I think, like, the faces in front of, like, the logos of their new teams would be cool. I don't know if I want to, like... Should I set it up in a way where, like, say a big name gets traded for, like, a smaller package where I just do a graphic like, oh, this big name got traded here or whatever? Or should I, like, have graphics that show, like, the full details of trades? Which would be a little bit harder. Well, obviously more detail to it.
I kind of like for just the graphics to have the big names involved, and then have. I mean, we'll obviously discuss the details of the trade, and we both think details are very important, but probably not for the graphics.
Well, I could easily go. I could easily do something like this exact same template. Is there anything I should switch up with this? Do you think?
I mean, I'm not probably the best guy to ask for that.
Well, I'm asking chat too.
I always think it looks good.
Bring up Discord on accident.
Yeah, Kevon, we'll definitely cover every trade that happens. Yeah. Obviously, there's some that are more important than others. But.
Yeah, so if there's any changes I should make to this chat, let me know. Like getting your guys' input on that template is good. Yeah, okay. We should talk about that before we sign off. We are going to sign off in a second. Just want any... Can you get the happy birthday graphic ready? For who? Whose birthday is it going to be? Keep it simple for yourself. Keep the graphics you have.
It's CJ the GOAT. His birthday on Thursday.
We'll give you a birthday shout out. We'll give you a birthday shout out at some point during that stream, man. Happy early birthday. Yeah, and like these graphics, I basically had like 2 layers to these, so just a little nerdy before we get in on the final thing I want to talk about. One layer would be like the Portland Trailblazers resign, okay, and then the next layer is the picture of Rodney Hood with his name. So basically, I would just change the like layer in the background, which would be like the team, and then the layer on top of it, I would just change to the player. So it was actually very easy. I just created these layers beforehand, so I didn't have to like go in and like combine the two in Photoshop to make them, like that would take a lot more time while it happened. So yeah, that's basically how I did that, though, in case any of you were curious. But anyway, so I just got chills. That was weird.
It'll be a fun day.
Yep. Let me talk about this before, because I kind of got to run. The play where they called the foul when we had a fast break dunk. Number 1, bad call. Quick given James Harden never called. Number 2, after the successful challenge, how didn't we get the ball when it was obvious we were going to get the ball? They need to have a common sense part of that rule. Like, call is overturned. The Blazers were going to gain control of the loose ball. Therefore, it's Blazers ball. not a jump ball. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be some common sense in there because everybody knew we were going to get the loose ball. I agree with that.
We had a fast break dunk, too, if they don't call it.
Oh, I know. That was frustrating. But it should have been our ball. We still won the jump, but it would have taken less time if we inbounded it on the side than had to chase down a jump ball, like, in the backcourt like that. So,
yeah.
Anyway, anything else you want to touch on from the stream, Eric?
Nope, just once again, Thursday, make sure you're here with us. Just come chill with us all day or pop in and out. Just a lot of fun. Obviously, if something big happens tomorrow, we'll have that for you as well. Like the Roco stream was we were going to have our Blazers Uprise live stream that day, but that was just kind of an out of the blue thing, and that was a really fun stream. So yeah, just we have you covered for anything that happens, and we hope to see all of you in there. We like chatting with you guys, and yeah, that's our last day to talk about trades for this season at least. And so join us if you want to.
Yep. I might go clean shaven just to throw it back because I did it last year. I might go clean shaven for that stream. Why not? But yeah,
Reese was trying to say I should wear a certain tie again.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll be going live around 8:30 in the morning, probably, maybe 9. I don't know. Just play it by ear. Follow us on Twitter for that information at Blazers Uprise YT. That's the channel Twitter. That's what we'll tweet it out on. Or I might tweet the info on mine at Tori Jones YT if you want to follow me, and at HoopsJock for Eric if you want to follow him. Thank you for tuning in for the stream. Our next stream is going to be the trade deadline. Very excited for it. The Blazers couldn't get the job done, but now we're just looking ahead at what hopefully is a crazy trade deadline. I'm ready for some action. Hopefully you guys are as well. Hopefully it's a busy trade deadline day. I would be very disappointed if it was all smoke and no fire. Could you imagine that? Ooh, that'd be bad.
Woj was saying he was expecting upwards of like 15 to 17 trades or something crazy like that.
I hope so. Let's do it. Anyway,
probably means that there's going to be like one.
Yeah, but Woj is in the know, so we'll have to wait and see if he's right on that one. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to everybody who donated. Thank you to my mods, Trevin, Reese, and Zach. Thank you to all my channel members. I'm out of here. We're out of here. We will catch you guys Thursday morning with that trade deadline stream. Can't wait. And then we'll hit you with the post-game show later that night. So hopefully you guys can tune in and catch us then. And until then, as always, peace out.